In 1987, Spaceballs blasted onto screens with irreverent humor, parodying the biggest sci-fi franchises of its time while quietly building a cult legacy of its own. Decades later, the laughter still echoes, but time, as always, has moved on. Behind the absurd costumes and unforgettable one-liners were real lives filled with triumph, reinvention, and, in some cases, heartbreaking endings. So what became of the heroes, villains, and scene stealers who made this galaxy so unforgettable? Let's step back into the past and rediscover where they are now, beginning with the faces you remember most. President Scrooge Yokert, played by Mel Brooks, was already a comedy legend at age 60 during the 1986 filming. Yet he infused both roles with wildly different energy. Scrooge's childish greed and Yokert's sly, fourth wall breaking wisdom. That duality became one of the film's most iconic highlights, especially his merchandising monologue, which hilariously predicted Hollywood's future obsession. Off-screen, Brooks continued shaping comedy history, even winning rare EGOT status. His life, however, carried deep personal loss after the passing of his wife, Anne Bancroft, in 2005. Still, he remained creatively active well into his later years, embracing family, legacy, and laughter. Now at 99 in 2026, Brooks stands as a living monument to comedy itself, a man who turned satire into timeless art. Barf, played by John Candy, was the lovable Mog half-man, half-dog whose loyalty and humor gave the film its emotional warmth. At 36 during filming in 1986, Candy brought a gentle sincerity beneath the slapstick, making Barf far more than comic relief. His wagging tail, constant appetite, and childlike devotion became instantly unforgettable. Behind the scenes, Candy was one of Hollywood's most beloved figures, known for kindness as much as talent. In 1994, he tragically died of a heart attack at just 43 while filming in Mexico. The contrast between his joyful screen presence and his sudden passing remains one of the film's most emotional notes, a reminder of a bright spirit gone far too soon. Dark Helmet, played by Rick Moranis, was a brilliantly absurd villain, equal parts intimidating and ridiculous. With his oversized helmet and explosive tantrums, at just 33 during filming, Moranis delivered a performance that perfectly parodied authoritarian villains while making them hilariously human. His "I knew it, I'm surrounded by ash holes" outburst became one of the film's defining moments. Moranis made a surprising and deeply personal decision. He stepped away from Hollywood in the 1990s to raise his children following his wife's death. This quiet sacrifice revealed a different kind of heroism behind the comedy. Now 73 in 2026, he remains a beloved figure, occasionally returning to the spotlight, forever remembered for choosing family over fame. Lone Starr, played by Bill Pullman, embodied the classic rogue hero, blending Han Solo's swagger with earnest charm. At age 32 during the 1986 shoot, Pullman brought a grounded sincerity that anchored the film's chaos. His transformation from cynical drifter to responsible hero gave the story its emotional arc, while moments like discovering his royal lineage added surprising depth. After Spaceballs, Pullman built a steady and respected career across film and television. Unlike many of his peers, his journey has been marked by stability both professionally and personally. With a long-lasting marriage and family life, now 72 in 2026, Pullman represents the rare Hollywood path defined not by scandal or tragedy, but by quiet endurance and lasting relevance. Princess Vespa, played by Daphne Zuniga, was far from the typical damsel in distress. At just 23 during filming in 1986, she portrayed Vespa as stubborn, rebellious, and fiercely independent of Anne, clashing with authority while still revealing vulnerability beneath her royal defiance. Her refusal to marry Prince Valiant became a comedic centerpiece, but also a subtle statement of autonomy, dedicating herself to causes beyond Hollywood. Her life reflects a balance between career and purpose, with fewer public controversies than many of her contemporaries. Now 63 in 2026, she remains active and respected, her journey mirroring Vespa's own evolution from impulsive youth to thoughtful strength. King Roland, played by Dick Van Patten, brought a wonderfully exasperated warmth to the role of Vespa's father, a ruler constantly overwhelmed by his daughter's defiance. At 58 during the 1986 filming, he infused Roland with a comedic impatience that made even his royal authority feel delightfully human. His anxious pacing and frustrated outbursts became subtle highlights amid the film's louder humor. Off-screen, Van Patten had already enjoyed decades of success, particularly in television, and remained a steady, family-oriented presence in Hollywood. His life was marked more by longevity and stability than scandal, including a long marriage and children who followed creative paths. He passed away peacefully in 2015 at 86 due to complications from diabetes, leaving behind a legacy of gentle humor and enduring professionalism. Colonel Sanders, played by George Wyner, served as a dry, sarcastic counterbalance to Dark Helmet's chaos. At 42 during filming, Wyner crafted a character whose restrained frustration made every line land with precision, especially his iconic reaction shots to Helmet's absurdity. That quiet, comedic timing became his defining trait in the film. Beyond Spaceballs, Wyner built a long and consistent career in television, often appearing in supporting roles that required intelligence and subtle wit. Unlike many comedic actors, his path was one of steady work rather than sudden fame. His personal life remained largely private, suggesting a preference for stability over spotlight. Now, 82 in 2026. Wyner stands as a testament to the enduring value of character actors, the ones who quietly elevate every scene they enter, turning a simple scene into comedic gold through his extraordinary vocal sound effects. At just 27 during a 1986 shoot, Winslow was already showcasing the unique talent that earned him the nickname the Man of 10,000 Sound Effects. His rapid-fire audio mimicry became the highlight moment, transforming a minor role into one audiences still remember. Outside the film, Winslow continued performing stand-up and appearing in projects that highlighted his rare abilities. His life included personal hardships, including the loss of his wife, which deeply affected him. Yet he remained dedicated to his craft and children. Now 67 in 2026, he continues to perform, his voice quite literally remaining his greatest instrument. Dot Matrix voice, played by Joan Rivers, gave the droid her shriek-tongued, no-nonsense personality, perfectly complementing C-3PO's parody while making the character distinctly her own. At 53 during filming, Rivers infused Dot with biting humor and emotional depth, especially in moments where sarcasm masked genuine care. Her voice became the character's most iconic trait, elevating every interaction. Off-screen, Rivers was a pioneering comedian who broke barriers for women in stand-up, though her career was not without controversy and professional setbacks. She eventually experienced a powerful resurgence later in life, reclaiming her place in the spotlight. In 2014, she passed away at 81 due to complications from a medical procedure, a sudden loss that shocked fans and underscored the enduring impact of her fearless voice. At 42 during the 1986 filming, her background in mime and dance allowed her to convey emotion through mechanical gestures, creating a fascinating contrast between robotic form and human feeling. This physical performance, often overlooked, was the hidden foundation of the character's success, a highlight that many viewers only fully appreciate in retrospect. Particularly in mime, where she achieved critical acclaim. Her life, however, remained relatively quiet compared to her co-stars. She passed away in 2010 at 66 after a long illness, leaving behind a legacy rooted in artistry that spoke louder than words. John Hurt cameo, played by John Hurt, delivered one of the film's most brilliant meta jokes, recreating his own chestburster scene from Alien with perfect comedic timing. At 46, during the 1986 filming, Hurt leaned into self-parody with remarkable grace, turning what could have been a simple gag into an unforgettable highlight, especially his resigned line, "Oh no, not again." Known for his intense dramatic roles, this moment revealed a playful side rarely seen by audiences. Critically acclaimed career across film and stage, earning numerous awards and respect for his versatility. Despite health struggles later in life, including pancreatic cancer, he continued acting with dedication. He passed away in 2017 at 77, leaving behind a legacy defined by depth, courage, and surprising humor. Radio operator, played by Salvis Scuso, appeared briefly but memorably as the calm voice relaying absurdly escalating situations. At around 37 to 38 during the 1986 shoot, Viscoso brought a composed, almost deadpan professionalism that made the chaos around him even funnier. His understated delivery became the highlight, proof that sometimes the quietest performances leave the strongest impression. Outside of Spaceballs, Viscoso built a long career in television. His journey reflects the working actor's path: steady, adaptable, and enduring. Away from the screen, he maintained a relatively private and stable life. Now, in his late 70s, in 2026, he remains part of that essential backbone of Hollywood. The faces you may not always name, but never forget. At 66 during the 1986 filming, Graham's composed presence made the unfolding comedy even sharper, especially as he tried to maintain order amid ridiculous interruptions. That contrast became his defining moment in the film. Behind the scenes, Graham was not only an actor, but also a respected writer and composer, contributing to television and Broadway with equal skill. His career was marked by versatility and creative depth rather than widespread fame. In his personal life, he experienced both professional satisfaction and the quieter challenges of aging out of the spotlight. He passed away in 1999 at 79 from natural causes, leaving behind a career built on intellect, wit, and understated talent. Prince Valium, played by Jim J. Bullock, was the ultimate parody of the disengaged royal charming in appearance but hilariously vacant in personality. At 31 during filming in 1986, Bullock infused the character with a dreamy, almost hypnotic detachment. Making his slow reactions and delayed speech a comedic centerpiece, his performance turned what could have been a minor role into one of the film's most quoted highlights. Off-screen, Bullock enjoyed success in television and stage, though his life was not without hardship, including personal losses during the AIDS crisis that deeply affected him. Despite these challenges, he demonstrated resilience, continuing to perform and connect with audiences. Now 71 in 2026, Bullock remains a symbol of perseverance, his humor shaped not just by talent, but by survival. Commander at Zircon, played by Leslie Bevis, stood out as one of the few authoritative female figures within Dark Helmet's ranks, bringing sharp precision and quiet confidence to her role. At 32 during the 1986 shoot, Bevis portrayed Zircon with a disciplined edge, contrasting the incompetence around her and subtly hinting that she might be the most capable person in the room. That understated authority became her highlight moment. Beyond Spaceballs, Bevis appeared in numerous television series, often in roles that required intelligence and strength rather than overt comedy. Her career reflected consistency rather than flash, and her personal life remained largely out of the public eye, suggesting a grounded existence away from Hollywood excess. Now, 71 in 2026, she represents a steady presence, proof that even in chaos, composure endures. Major Asshole, played by Jim Jackman, embodied one of Spaceballs' most outrageous running jokes, turning a simple gag into a defining comedic rhythm. At around 30 during the 1986 filming, Jackman delivered his lines with exaggerated seriousness, making the repeated roll call of his shoals unexpectedly hilarious. That absurd contrast between military discipline and juvenile humor became his standout moment. Unlike many of his stars, Jackman did not pursue a highly visible Hollywood career afterward, making his appearance here feel like a singular flash of cult film immortality. Little is publicly known about his personal life, which adds a layer of mystery to his story. Now around 69 in 2026, he remains a quiet footnote in cinema history, yet forever tied to one of the film's most quoted jokes. He built a steady and respectable career in television and film, often appearing in supporting roles that demanded reliability and depth. His life reflects the persistence required to endure in Hollywood without constant spotlight. Now 64 in 2026, Nievsky continues working, a testament to longevity shaped by dedication rather than fame. At just 25 during filming in 1986, Nievsky was at the beginning of a long acting journey, bringing youthful energy even to a small role. His highlight lies not in a single line, but in being part of the film's relentless comedic machine. In the years that followed, particularly in the unforgettable nose job scene that spirals into comedic chaos. At 37 during the 1986 shoot, Helberg's frantic energy and expressive reactions turned a bizarre concept into one of the film's most visually memorable sequences. That moment became his highlight, equal parts unsettling and hilarious. Outside of Spaceballs, Helberg maintained a diverse career in television and voice work, often leaning into eccentric or comedic roles. His life appears to have been relatively stable, without major public scandals, reflecting a steady, professional path. Now, in his mid to late 70s in 2026, he remains a familiar face to those who appreciate character actors who fully commit to even the strangest material. Captain of the Guard, played by Stephen Tobolowsky, brought a subtle comedic intelligence to his role, even within limited screen time. At 35 during filming in 1986, Tobolowsky already possessed the timing and nuance that would later define his career. His highlight in Spaceballs lies in his ability to ground absurd dialogue with believable authority, making the humor land more effectively. In the decades that followed, he became one of Hollywood's most recognizable character actors, appearing in countless films and television series, often stealing scenes with his thoughtful delivery. His personal life has been marked by stability, intellectual curiosity, and even storytelling beyond acting through writing and podcasts. Now, 74 in 2026, Tobolowsky represents the rare blend of consistency and quiet brilliance. Some its stars became legends, others quietly stepped away, and a few left us far too soon. Yet together, they created something timeless. In laughter, in loss, and in legacy, their stories remind us that behind every joke is a life lived far beyond the screen, and that even in a galaxy of absurdity, their impact was lasting.